at the upper deck nosebleeds, and I saw Willie Knowles for UCLA playing against Bill Russell for San Francisco. And we couldn't even see. We had to ask the guys in front of us what was going on down there. We were that far back in the aisle in the balcony. And we asked the guys in front of us what's going on. And they tapped them on the shoulder, and it was Mo Haber and Sam Kaplan. And they had gotten in with 50-cent GL cards. So later that year, we went to the first NIT, and Robert, we took a bus over to 42nd Street. We walked up to the Garden, got tickets, and then we walked over to the Biltmore to meet some people. It was like St. Patrick's weekend, everybody met at the Biltmore. And St. John's was playing at the Biltmore. Staying at the Biltmore, playing in the NIT. St. John's was really good back then. And out of the Biltmore come St. John players with their bags, and Joe Lapchick and everybody. And there's a little coach behind them, running along behind them. He sees Robert. Robert was well known. He was a high school basketball player, freshman, but he was older than most of the college guys on that team. And little guy come over to him, and he was assistant coach, and Robert introduced me to him, and the guy said, you want tickets to the game? I got tickets for you. You could want court Robert. Robert said, no, we already got him. And he introduced me, Jed, this is Lou Conasecca.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
That's wild.
But yeah, Robert knew all of them. And, he used to take us to parties with the Knicks because he had a tryout with them.
We used to buck our way into the Garden. Remember that?
I used to get in with the press pass that Crazy Tissy made.
$1 in, $1 to get a good seat.
The next guy here in our Hall of Fame, and this completes our inaugural group. Bad Lair, John White, Bobby Ray, Rob McLaughlin. The next guy is George's brother,
Limpy.
Big Limpy. Big Limpy was another of Jersey City's all-time characters. And when I went to Big Limpy's funeral in Marcello's, all the guys from Mallory were there, and there was the toughest of the guys there, Frankie Fillay, said he was crying over his lost friend. And Frankie's going to tell us a little bit about John Forge tonight.
You felt better, right?
All right.
Now, next to his family, I was probably one of the closest guys to Limpy. He was my friend. He was my partner. I loved him like you would like a woman. He was a super guy. My kids loved him. I lived in North Arlington. I come from North Arlington to Jersey City on Saturdays to straighten out our business. Limpy would play with my kids, give them money, teach them how to shoot pool, teach them how to play shuffleboard. I said, I was tickle fingers. When you go home, don't tell your mother what you were doing. Just come here and enjoy yourself. So when I was coming here tonight, I told you I don't know whether I could come. So my son Frankie says, look, just tell him, you know, how good he was when he was born. So when Frankie was born, Limpy comes over the house. He was in my bridal party. So he brings over an authentic Yankee uniform. It was gorgeous. I mean, believe me, it was made by Post. In them days, that's who did the uniforms, was Post. I said, Frankie couldn't wear it until he was an adult. He said, but wait, you got to open up the other bear. You got to open up the other one. He's telling my wife, he's Kathy, open up the other bears, the other box. We open up the other box. He opens it up, and he pulls out a jock strap. It had to fit the biggest guy on the team. He said, Kathy, this is if Frankie wakes up in the middle of the night, and he stops crying, put him in it, and he could use him like a hammock. He thought that was the greatest thing in the world. Then I could stay here all day telling you stories. You think that General Motors and Ford made the first hardtop convertible? Nope. Limpy had a car. He decides he wants to cut the roof off the car. He gets a hacksaw, cuts the roof off the car. Now he's got a convertible. But when it rained, he would get wet. He had a tarpaulin, would pull it over the thing, drive the car around with the tarpaulin on the thing, get wet. Then he was an avid golfer. So when he's playing golf, he couldn't get too many people to have a foursome with him. So he's playing golf. So if you know Limpy, he had a temper like forget about it. So he could play. If he bogeyed a hole, it happened to be a pond next to him, he'd get the stuff, throw it in a pond, and come back. Now he has to retrieve it to go back to the next hole. He didn't take his shoes off. He just would roll his pants up, walk through the pond, put his shoes, pick up the golf and stuff, go to the next hole. So like, there's I'm trying to think of another, Curly Neal with the Globetrotters. Everybody thought he was a dribbler. Nothing better than Limpy. We're over the Garden one day. Me, him, and Mike Shanley were coming home from the Garden. The tunnel, you can't get through the tunnel. I know Limpy. Limpy has no patience. No patience at all he has. He's sitting in there. So he said to me, Frank, you got the basketball, because you always had a basketball, Limpy. Always had a basketball with him. Yes, in the back of my car. Gets the basketball out, and he's dribbling through the tunnel, behind the cars, throwing on the wall. I said, Limpy, people are beeping their horn now, encouraging him. He's going back and forth, dribbling back and forth. I said, Limpy, get in the car before we get locked up. His other thing was, Limpy hated the New York Giants with a passion. Hated them. He hated them. So he put credence to...
He used to go to the games all the time, but he hated them.
Yeah, he'd go to the games, they sent him home. He would curse and scream and howl, and he was with Johnny Weiss, and they would say, you can't stay here no more. But he put credence that the evil empire, that's how they were. He hated them. He would say to me, yeah, you were at the game, you were cheering, because we do a lot of things together. Say, you were cheering, we're losing all kinds of money over here, and you were jumping up and down, hoping they threw a touchdown. I said, I have nothing to do with it, I have no control over this. This is the way the game is. The ironic part about it is, when John passed away, he died the same week, 1967, January, that the Giants won their first Super Bowl. I said, oh my God, he said, he's got to be crazy up there. He's saying, I can see that fat guy down there with his 2 kids, but I went to the game, rooting, jumping up and down, don't care, Giants win. I said, Limp, the only difference is this time, I won because I bet on the Giants. So we're in a funeral parlor. So we tell everybody's telling this story. Everybody had a Limpy story. Everybody had a Limpy story. Where it got to be that we felt like we're in Rascals, the comedy club. We're hysterical. So I don't know. So I go up to Janet. I said, Janet, I said, you got to excuse us. I said, because I really feel bad. She said, don't worry, Frank. That's exactly what John would want.
Yeah.
So then, even while I was there, I said, you know, and I can't go to the funeral. I said, because I'm going to the Giants. I'm going to the Super Bowl. He said, she said, John will understand. But that's how, he was Limpy to us, but he was John to his sister. Like I said, my sons loved him. Everybody tells the stories. I just say, St. Peter, if you're there, if you hear a guy yelling and cursing the Giants, or going into a pool, trying to get his golf clubs, that's John. Have compassion for him, because he's really a nice guy. You'll love him when he's up there. But just remember, that's John. He was Jimpy to Bimbo. He was Chief to all the kids. He was, like I said before, he was John to his sister. But to me, he'll always be Limpy. He's my friend, and Limp, until we meet again. Your friend, he only used to call me Frankie Butch. I hope I see you again.
Well, why'd they call him Limpy?
I was going to say that.
Well, I don't want to...
That's another story.
It's a long story, but I want to tell you.
Basically,